Kaya, it's no use.
Mr. Bruvick, you're very ill this evening, aren't you?
I get worse every day.
Why don't you go home, Father? Try and get some rest.
Go to bed, I suppose.
Then get some fresh air.
Yes, do, Father. I'll go with you.
No, I can't go till he gets back. I must have it out with him. I must have it settled.
No, Mr. Bruvick, please, wait.
Better wait, Father.
I haven't much time for waiting.
I hear him in the hall.
Have they gone?
No.
What are you entering there, Miss Fossley?
It's just something that I...
Let me see. Kaya, why do you always take your shade off when I come in?
Because I look so ugly with it on.
And you don't want to look ugly?
No, not when you're here.
Oh, dear Kaya.
Shh, they'll hear you.
Did anyone call while I was out?
Yes, those young people who want to build at Louvstrand.
Oh, those two. Well, they'll just have to wait. Plans aren't quite clear in my mind yet.
They're very eager to see some drawings as soon as possible.
Yes, I know. They're all the same.
But they're so looking forward to having a home of their own.
Yes, I know. And then they grab the first thing that comes along. A mere roof over their heads. Nothing to call a home. No, thank you. That's all they want. Tell them to apply to someone else. Tell them that the next time they come.
How do you mean, someone else? Would you give up the commission?
Why not? I'm not interested in building that sort of trash. Anyhow, I know nothing about these people.
Oh, they're reliable enough. Ragnar knows them quite well. He sees quite a lot of them. They're very respectable young people.
Respectable? That's not the point. Why can you never understand me? You don't see what I mean. I don't care to deal with a lot of strangers. Let them apply to whom they like, as far as I'm concerned.
You really mean that?
Why shouldn't I mean it?
I'd like to have a talk with you, if I may.
Of course.
Kaya, go in there for a few minutes.
But, Mr. Bruvick...
Do as I say, child. It's about Ragnar. I'm worried about Ragnar. What's to become of him?
Why should you be worried about him? He can work here for me as long as he likes.
But that's just what he doesn't like. He feels he can't stay here any longer.
Why not? He does pretty well here, it seems to me. But of course, if he wants more money...
No, that has nothing to do with it. But he thinks it's time he did some work on his own account.
Sit down. Do you think Ragnar's capable enough of that?
That's just the point. I've begun to have doubts about the boy. After all, you've never given him a single word of encouragement. And yet, he must have talent. I can't help feeling that.
But what does he know? He's had absolutely no experience. He's a good draftsman, but is that enough?
Experience? You didn't have much experience either when you came to work for me. But you managed to make a name for yourself. You pushed your way up, outstripping me and all the others.
Well, you see, I was lucky.
Yes, you were lucky, that's true enough. All the more reason for you to be generous. I want to see Ragnar do something on his own before I die. And I want to see them married, too.
Married? Is Kaya so very keen on that?
Not Kaya so much, but Ragnar speaks of it every day. You must give him a chance. Help him get some independent work. Let me see him do some work on his own.
What do you expect me to do? Drag commissions down from the moon for him?
He has a chance for a commission now. Quite a big piece of work.
Yes?
Yes, if you would give your consent.
What sort of work?
They might give him that commission to build that house at Lovestrand.
That I'm building that myself.
But it doesn't really interest you. You said so yourself.
Never
just
mind
now.
what I said. So they'd let Ragnar build their house, would they?
Well, you see, he's a friend of theirs, and so just for fun he made some drawings, worked out some plans and estimates.
Were they pleased with these drawings of his?
If you'd look them over and give them your approval.
Then they'd give Ragnar the commission.
They seemed delighted with his ideas. They thought them different, new and original, they said.
New and original. Not the old-fashioned stuff I go for, I suppose. So that's why they came when I was out. They wanted to see Ragnar.
No, they wanted to see you. They wanted to talk it over with you. Find out if you consider withdrawing from the...
Withdraw? I withdraw?
If you approved of Ragnar's drawing.
I retire in favor of your son.
Withdraw from the agreement they made.
Yeah, it comes to the same thing. Halvard Solness is to think about retiring now. He must make room for younger men.
Heavens knows there's plenty of room for more than one single man.
I'm not so sure of that, but I'll tell you one thing. I'll never retire. I'll never give way to no one. Never of my own consent.
Don't you realize that I'm a dying man? Am I never to see any work of Ragnar's doing?
Don't say anything more just now.
You must answer this one question. Am I to face death in this bitter poverty?
You must face death as best you can.
Very well. So be it.
Don't you understand? I can do nothing about it. I'm made that way. I can't change my nature.
No, I don't suppose you can. May I have a glass of water?
Yes, of course.
Thanks.
Ragnar! Take your father home.
Put your things on too, Kaya.
No, Miss Fossley must stay here a moment. There's a letter I want her to write.
Good night. Sleep well, if you can.
Good night.
Is there a letter?
No, of course not. Kaya, come here. Is all this your doing?
No, you mustn't think that.
But you want to get married, don't you?
Ragnar and I have been engaged for 2 or 3 years, and so
And so you think it's about time you got married, is that it?
Ragnar and his father are so insistent, I suppose I shall have to give in.
But you do care for Ragnar, don't you?
I cared for him a great deal once, before I came here to you.
And now?
Now there's only one person in the world I care about. You know that. I shall never care for anyone else.
Yes, that's what you say. And yet you'd go off and leave me here to struggle on alone.
But couldn't I stay here with you, even if Ragnar...
No, that's out of the question. If Ragnar goes, he'll need you with him.
I don't see how I can leave you. It's impossible.
Well, then get these foolish ideas out of Ragnar's head. By all means, marry him if you like. I mean, he has a good position here for his own sake. Try and persuade him not to give it up. But then I'll be able to keep you here, too, my dear little Kaya.
Yes, how wonderful that would be. If only we could manage it.
I can't do without you. I must have you near me. You understand? I must have you near me.
Thank you.
Oh, Kaya.
How good you are to me. How incredibly good to me.
Someone's coming. Yes, dear?
I hope I'm not disturbing you.
No, not at all. Miss Fossley has just a short letter to write.
Yes, so I see.
What did you want, Aline?
I just wanted to tell you that Dr. Herdal is in the drawing room.
Oh, does he have something special to say to me?
No, nothing special. He came to call on me, really, but he thought he'd like to say hello to you at the same time.
Yes, I dare say. Well, just ask him to wait.
Then you'll come in presently?
Yes, presently. Presently. In a little while, my dear.
You won't forget, Halvard.
Oh, dear. I'm afraid Mrs. Soulness was annoyed with me.
No more than usual. But I think you'd better go now.
Yes, I suppose I must go now.
And get this matter settled for me.
If it was a question of me...
By tomorrow at the latest.
If the worst comes to the worst, I'd gladly break off my engagement.
Break off your engagement? Well, you must be out of your mind.
I must stay here with you. It's impossible for me to leave
About
you.
Ragnar. It's Ragnar that I...
Ragnar! You mean it's because of Ragnar that you...
No, you don't understand me, my dear little Kaya. No, it's you. It's you I want, above everything. And for that reason, you must try and persuade Ragnar to stay on here. You better go now.
Yes, well... Good night.
Oh, by the way, did Ragnar leave those drawings of his here?
I don't think he took them with him.
Would you find them for me, please? I might just have a look at them after all.
Would you?
It's just for your sake, Kaya.
Here they are.
Just leave them there on the desk.
Good night. You will think kindly of me.
I always do, Kaya.
Halvard?
Oh.
I really can't keep the doctor any longer.
Well, ask him to come in here, then.
Have you finished the letter, Miss Bosley?
The letter?
Yes, it was just
Oh.
a short one.
It must have been very short.
You may go now, Miss Fossley, and be here on time in the morning.
I will, Mr. Soulness. Good night, Mrs. Soulness.
How very lucky you were to find that young girl, Halvard.
Yes, she's useful in many ways.
So it seems.
Is she good at bookkeeping, too?
Well, she's had a lot of experience here the past 2 years, and she's so good-natured and willing.
That must be very gratifying. So, Doctor, will you come back later and join us for dinner?
I have just one more patient to see, then I'll be back.
Thank you, Doctor.
Doctor, are you in a hurry?
No, not at all.
May I talk to you for a little while?
With the greatest pleasure.
Good. Did you notice anything about Aline just now?
Just now, while she was here?
In her attitude toward me, did you notice anything?
Well, one could hardly help noticing that your wife...
Yes?
Your wife doesn't seem to care much for this Miss Fossley.
Oh, that. Yes. That's occurred to me, too.
I suppose it's not really very surprising that she should resent your seeing so much of another woman.
Yes, I suppose you're right. And Aline, too. There's nothing I can do about it.
Couldn't you get a man for the job?
You mean an ordinary clerk? No, that would never do.
But what if your wife, you know how nervous and delicate she is, what if this is too much of a strain for her?
That makes no difference. I have strong reasons for keeping Kaya Fossley here. No one else can take her place.
Might I ask you a rather personal question, Soulness?
By all means.
One must admit that in some things, women have an uncomfortably keen intuition. Now, if your wife so thoroughly resents this Kaya Fossley, is there not the slightest reason for this? No, don't be angry with me. Tell me frankly. Isn't there?
No.
None whatever?
Only her own suspicious nature.
I gather there have been quite a number of women in your life, Soulness.
Well, that may be so.
And you've been quite attached to some of them, no doubt.
I don't deny it.
But in this case, there's nothing of that sort.
None whatever. On my side.
But on her side?
I don't think you have the right to ask that question.
There, you see.
Dr. Herdal, I'd like to tell you a strange story.
Oh, I like listening to strange stories.
Perhaps you remember I hired Knut Bruvik and his son when the old man's business failed.
I remember vaguely, yeah.
They're useful fellows, highly gifted. Then young Ragnar got himself engaged, decided to get married and start to build on his own account. They're all alike, these young people.
They do have a bad habit of wanting to get married.
But that didn't happen to suit me. I needed Ragnar myself. Well, one day, Kaya Fossley came here to the office to see them on some errand or other. She'd never been here before. When I saw how infatuated Ragnar was with her, it occurred to me that if I were to give Miss Fossley a job here, I might get Ragnar to stay on as well.
Seems logical enough.
Yes, but wait. I never said a word about it at the time. I just stood looking at her and wished with all my might that I might get her to work here. I simply said a few friendly words to her, and then she went home.
Well,
Well, the next evening, she came back again and behaved as if we'd come to some sort of agreement
agreement.
about the very thing I had been thinking the evening before.
That was strange.
Yes, isn't it? She asked me what her duties were to be, what time I wanted her to start work, and so on.
She probably thought she'd like a job here so she could be near Ragnar.
But how did she know what I was thinking that first evening? Why did she behave as though I had asked her to come when I had only thought about it? I had wished it, willed it, if you will, but silently, inwardly. How did she know? Can you explain that, Dr. Herdal?
No, I confess I can't.
No, you can't, can you? And it's become a nuisance. Every day I have to keep up this pretense, and it's not fair to her, the poor girl. There's nothing I can do about it. If she leaves, then Ragnar will leave.
Oh, haven't you explained all this to your wife?
No.
And why on earth don't you?
I find a sort of salutary self-torture in allowing Aline to do me this injustice.
I don't understand you in the least.
Well, then we won't talk any more about it, Doctor. I suppose you think you've drawn me out very cleverly.
Drawn you out? Again, I haven't the faintest idea what you mean.
Oh, come now. You think I haven't noticed?
Noticed what?
The way you've been observing me lately.
I observing you? Why on earth should I do a thing like that?
Because you think the same thing of me Aline does.
And what does she think of you?
My wife thinks that I'm sick.
You sick? She's never mentioned such a thing to me. What does she think's the matter with you?
Aline is convinced that I'm crazy.
Oh, now, my dear Solness.
Oh, I tell you it is so. And she's convinced you of it, too. Now, don't think I haven't noticed. I'm not so easily fooled.
I give you my word, Solness, such a thought has never crossed my mind.
It hasn't, eh?
Never. Nor your wife's mind. I could swear to that.
Oh, I wouldn't do that if I were you. Who knows? Perhaps in a way.
Oh.
She may be right.
Oh, now, really, I must
Well,
say...
we won't talk any more about it, Doctor. But I suppose...
What?
Think you don't think that I'm crazy or mad or sick or whatever you want to call it?
Well?
I suppose you think I'm a happy man.
Well, would I be mistaken?
Oh, no, of course not. To be Halvard Solness. Solness, the great master builder. What could be more delightful?
Well, you've been an amazingly lucky man.
Yes, I have, indeed.
Ever since the old house burned down. That was your first bit of luck.
That was Aline's old home. Don't forget that.
Yes, it must have been a great grief to her.
She never got over it.
Still, that fire was what started your career. You built your success on those ruins. You were just a poor boy from a country village. Now you're at the head of your profession. You must admit, Solness, that luck was on your side.
Yes, and that's why I'm so afraid.
You afraid?
That luck will turn, you see.
Nonsense. What should make the luck turn?
The younger generation.
The younger generation? Oh, come now, you're not as old as that. Well, your position here is more assured than ever.
Aye, that luck will turn. I know it. I feel the day approaching. Some young man will suddenly shout, "Get out of my way!" And then all the others will crowd in after him, threatening and clamoring, "Make room, make room, make room." You'll see, Doctor. One of these days, the younger generation will come knocking at my door.
Well, what if they do?
What if they do? That'll be the end of Master Builder Solness. What was that? Didn't you hear?
Someone knocked at the door.
Come in.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Don't tell me you don't recognize me.
Well, I'm afraid for the moment.
But I recognize you, young lady.
Oh, I remember you. You're the one
We met at the mountains last summer. What happened to the other ladies? I don't think they approved of all the fun we were having.
No, probably not.
Well, you must admit you did flirt with us quite a bit.
What did you expect me to do? I couldn't compete with all that knitting.
No, knitting's not much in your style.
Have you just arrived in town?
Just this moment.
All alone, Miss Fungal?
All alone.
Wangel? Is your name Wangel?
Of course it is.
Are you by any chance Dr. Wangel's daughter from Lysanger?
Whose daughter did you think I was?
Oh, well, that's probably where we met. The summer I put the tower on the old church.
Of course that's when we met.
Well, that was a good many years ago.
It's exactly the 10 years.
You must have been a mere child at the time.
I was 12 or 13.
Is this your first trip to town, Miss Fungal?
Yes, it is.
Have you friends here?
Just you. And your wife, of course.
Oh, so you know her, too?
Very slightly. We met briefly at the Springs.
Oh, up there.
She asked me to come and see you if I ever came to town. Not that that was necessary, of course.
It's funny she never mentioned it.
Well, is it all right if I spend the night here?
Well, I expect that can be managed.
You see, I haven't any clothes with me except what I've got on. I have some dirty underwear in the knapsack, but that'll have to go straight to the wash. It's very dirty.
Well, we'll take care of that. I'll just call my wife.
Meanwhile, I'll visit my patient.
Yes, do. And you'll come back later?
No, don't worry. I'll be back. Well, you were right after all, weren't you, Solness?
How do you mean?
The younger generation did come knocking at your door.
Yes, but in quite a different way.
Oh, a very different way. That's undeniable.
Aline! There's a Miss Wangel here, a friend of yours. Would you come in here a moment?
Who did you say it was, Havard? Oh, it's you, Miss Wangel. So you did come to town after all.
Yes, she just arrived. She'd like to know, can she stay here tonight?
Here? With us? Well, with pleasure.
Just until she gets her clothes in order.
I'll help you as much as I can. After all, it's no more than my duty. I suppose your trunk will arrive presently?
Oh, I have no trunk.
Oh. Well, everything will work out for the best, I dare say. If you'll just wait here, I'll see about having a room made comfortable for you.
Why not put her in one of the nurseries? They're all ready as it is.
Yes. We've plenty of room there. Sit down now. Rest a little.
Are there so many nurseries in this house?
There are 3 nurseries here.
You must have a great many children.
No, we have no children. So you'll have to be the child tonight.
For tonight. I shan't cry. I intend to sleep like a log.
You must be very tired.
No, not a bit, but it's such fun to lie in bed and dream.
Do you usually dream at night?
Almost always.
What do you dream about?
I won't tell you. Some other time, maybe.
Are you looking for something?
No, I was just interested in all these things. Perhaps I shouldn't touch them.
No, go right ahead.
Do you write in this great ledger?
No, that's for the bookkeeper.
A man or a woman?
The woman, of course.
Does she come every day?
Yes,
Is she married or single?
she's single.
Oh, indeed.
But she expects to marry soon.
Well, that will be nice for her.
Yes, but not so nice for me, for then I'll have no one to help me.
Oh, you're sure to find someone else just as good.
How would you like to stay here and write in the ledger?
No, thank you. Nothing like that for me. There are better things than that to be done around here. Don't you think so, too?
Unquestionably. I suppose you'll start by visiting all the shops.
No, I think I'll leave the shops alone.
Why?
Well, you see, I'm out of money.
No money and no trunk?
Neither the one nor the other. But what does that matter now?
You know, I like you for that.
Only for that?
For that, among other things. Is your father still alive?
Yes, Father's alive.
Do you plan to study here?
No, that hadn't occurred to me.
Oh, you plan to be here for some time?
That depends on how things turn out. Master Builder,
Yes.
do you have a very bad memory?
Bad memory? Not that I know of.
Aren't you going to talk to me about what happened up there?
At Leesonger? Well, I don't see anything to talk about in that.
How can you sit there and say that?
Well, suppose you talk to me about it.
When the tower was finished, you remember all the excitement in the town?
Yes, I'll never forget that day.
Oh, you won't. That's kind of you.
Kind?
There was a band in the churchyard and hundreds of people, and we schoolgirls were dressed all in white, and we all carried flags.
Oh, yeah, those flags. I'll never forget those
And
flags.
then you climbed up the scaffolding right to the very top. You had a great wreath in your hand, and you hung it high up on the weather vane.
Yes, I used to do that in those days. It's an old custom, you know.
Oh, it was so wonderfully thrilling to stand below and look up at you. Suppose you were going to fall over, the great master builder himself.
Yes, that might easily have happened, you know. One of those little devils dressed in white kept carrying on so and screaming up at me.
Hurrah for Master Builder Solness!
Yes, and waving her flag and brandishing it so wildly, I got dizzy.
That particular little devil, that was I.
Ah, yes, it must have been you. I see it now.
It was wonderfully thrilling. It didn't seem to me that any master builder in the whole world could build such a high tower, and then to see you up there yourself at the very top, as large as life. Oh, and to know you weren't the least bit dizzy. That was what made one so dizzy to think about it.
How could you be so sure I wasn't?
Well, of course not. I knew that. Besides, if you had been, you wouldn't have been able to stand up there and sing.
Sing? Did I sing?
Of course you did.
I've never sung a note in my life.
You sang then. It sounded like harps in the air.
There's something very strange about all this.
But the real thing happened afterwards.
Oh, what real thing?
Don't tell me I have to remind you of that.
Oh, please do remind me a little of that, too.
Don't you remember a great dinner was given for you at the club?
Yes, that must have been the same afternoon because I left the next morning.
And after the club, you came on to our house.
Yes, I believe you're right, Miss Vongel. You seem to remember every little detail.
Little detail, is that what you call them? I suppose it was a little detail, too, that I was alone in the room when you came in.
Oh, were you alone?
You didn't call me a little devil then.
No, I suppose I didn't.
You told me I looked lovely in my white dress. You said I looked like a little princess.
I expect you did, Miss Vongel.
And then you said that when I grew up, I was going to be your princess.
Well, I said that too.
Yes, you did. And when I asked you how long I had to wait, you said you'd come back again in 10 years and carry me off like a gypsy to Spain or some such place and buy me a kingdom there.
Well, there's nothing like a good dinner to make you feel generous.
You even told me what that kingdom was going to be called.
Oh, what's that?
The kingdom of Oranja, you said.
Oranja. It's an appetizing name.
No, I didn't like it a bit. It sounded almost as if you were making fun of me.
And of course I couldn't have been doing that.
I should hope not. Considering what you did next.
Oh, good heavens, what did I do next?
Don't tell me you've forgotten that. I know better. You couldn't help remembering.
Please give me just a little hint. Well,
You came and kissed me, Master Builder.
I did?
Yes, you did. You took me in your arms and bent my head back and kissed me many times.
Oh, really, Miss Vongo?
You surely don't intend to deny it.
I most certainly do deny it.
Indeed.
Now, Miss Vongo, I don't stand there like a statue. You must have dreamt all this. Now, look here. Now, wait a minute. Perhaps I thought about it, willed it. That might explain it. Oh, very well, then. I did do it, I suppose.
And you admit it now.
Anything you like.
You took me in your arms.
Yes.
Bent my head back.
Very far back.
And kissed me.
Yes.
Many times.
As many times as you like.
There, you see? I got it out of you at last.
Imagine my forgetting a thing like that.
Well, I suppose you've kissed so many girls in your day.
Oh, no, you mustn't think that of me. Miss Vongo. And then what happens? I mean, what came of all this between us two?
Nothing came of it. You know that perfectly well. Just then all the others came in and...
Oh, yes, all the others. Imagine my forgetting a thing like that.
You didn't really forget anything at all. You are just a little bit ashamed, that's all. I suppose now you'll tell me you've forgotten what date it was.
What date?
Yes, on what day of what month did you hang the wreath on the tower? Come on, tell me.
I'm afraid I've forgotten the exact date. I know it was 10 years ago, sometime in autumn.
It was 10 years ago, on the 19th of September.
Imagine remembering that, too. Wait a minute. It's the 19th of September today.
Yes, it is. And the 10 years are up, and you didn't come as you promised.
Promised? Threatened, don't you mean?
Why? It didn't seem like a threat to me.
Well, perhaps I was just having some fun with you.
Having some fun? Is that all you wanted?
Well, I don't... Maybe teasing you, or it couldn't have been anything else. I don't remember anything about it, but it couldn't have been any more than that. You were just a child at the time.
Don't be so sure. Maybe I wasn't quite such a child as you think. Not quite such a callow little brat as you imagine.
In all seriousness, did you really expect me to come back again?
Of course.
And carry you off?
Just like a gypsy, yes.
And make a princess of you?
That's what you promised.
And buy you a kingdom?
Why not? Maybe not an ordinary, everyday kind of kingdom.
But something else just as good?
Oh, at least as good. I thought to myself, if he can build the highest church tower in the world, he surely ought to be able to raise some kind of kingdom.
No, I can't make out if you mean all you say, if you're just joking.
Having some fun with you, maybe.
Having some fun with both of us, perhaps. How long have you known that I was married?
I've always known that. Why do you ask?
Well, it just occurred to me. Really, why have you come here?
I want my kingdom. The time is up.
What an amazing girl you are.
Out with my kingdom, Master Builder. My kingdom on the table.
No, seriously, what do you want to do here?
First, I'm going to go around and look at all the things you've built.
Well, that'll give you a lot of exercise.
Yes, I know you've built a tremendous lot.
Yes, I have the last few years.
Many church towers as well, and immensely high ones.
No. I don't build churches anymore, nor church towers
What do you
either.
build now, then?
Homes for human beings.
Well, couldn't you build some sort of a church tower over those homes as well?
What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean something that soars, that points straight up to the free air, with the vane at a dizzy height.
It's strange you should say that, because that's what I've always longed to do.
Why don't you do it?
I don't think people would approve.
Wouldn't they? How can they be so stupid?
I'm building a house for myself, however, over there.
With a tower,
Yes.
a high one.
Much too high for a home, people are sure to say.
Well, I'll go out and look at that tower first thing in the morning, Master Builder.
What's your name, Miss Fargo? Your first name, I mean.
My name's Hilda, you know that.
Hilda.
You called me Hilda yourself that day when you misbehaved.
I did?
Yes, you did, only then you called me Little Hilda. I didn't like that,
No, you didn't like that, Miss Hilda.
not at a time like that. Princess Hilda would sound very nice, though, I think.
Princess Hilda of... What was the name of that kingdom?
Oh, I want nothing more to do with that stupid kingdom. I'm determined to have quite a different one.
You know, it's very strange. The more I think about it, the more I feel I've been tormented by some half-forgotten memory these past few years. Something I've been trying to recapture.
You should have tied a knot in your handkerchief, Master Builder.
What a good thing it is you've come to me.
Is it a good thing?
Yes. You know, I've been so lonely here, gazing at everything so helplessly. I must tell you, I've begun to be so afraid, so terribly afraid of the younger generation.
Oh, surely that's nothing to be afraid of.
Oh, yes, it is. Tell you, one of these days, the younger generation will come thundering at my door. They'll break through and overwhelm me.
Then I think you should open the door to the younger generation. Let them come to you in friendship.
Oh, don't you see? The younger generation comes bearing retribution. It marches triumphantly under a new banner.
Can I be of use to you, Master Builder?
Yes. Yes, you can indeed. For you too march under a new banner, it seems to me. Yes. Youth matched against youth.
What? You and Miss Wangel still here?
Oh, yes, we found so much to talk about.
It's been the greatest fun. Mr. Sulnus remembers everything so vividly, down to the tiniest detail.
Your room is ready, Miss Wangel?
How kind of you.
The nursery.
Yes, the middle one. Well, shall we go in to dinner?
Hilda shall sleep in the nursery, she shall.
Hilda?
Yes, Miss Wangel's name is Hilda. I knew her when she was a little girl.
Did you really? How about? Come, let's go in. Dinner is on the table.
Is it true what you said just now? Can I be of use to you?
Oh, you can indeed.
And how wonderful the world is.
How do you mean?
Well, that I have my kingdom.
Hilda.
Almost, I was going to say.
expect he'll die now as well.
As well as who?
Yes, old Bruvik is going to die too. You'll see, Halvard.
Aline, dear. Don't you think you should go out for a little walk?
Yes. I suppose I should.
Is she still asleep?
Miss Bongo? So it's Miss Bongo you were thinking about.
Oh, I just happened to remember her.
Miss Bongo was up long ago.
Oh, was she really? Well, Aline, at last we have a use for one of our nurseries.
Well, so we have.
It's much better than having them all empty, it seems to me.
Oh, yes, you're right. That emptiness is dreadful.
You'll see, Aline. From now on, things are going to be better, more cheerful, and life will be easier, especially for you.
Because she has come here? Is that what you mean?
No. I mean, after we've moved into the new house.
Really, Halvard? Do you think things will be better then?
Of course. You must think so, too.
I think nothing at all about the new house.
It's hard for me to hear you talk like that, Aline. Considering it's mostly for your sake, I built it.
I'm afraid you do far too much for my sake.
You mustn't say things like that, Aline. I can't stand it.
Well, then I won't say them, Halvard.
But I stick to what I said. You'll see things will be easier over there.
Easier for me?
Yes. You'll have so much to remind you of your old home.
Father's and mother's home that was burned to the ground. You can build as much as you like, Halvard. You'll never be able to build another real home for me.
Oh, for heaven's sakes, let's not talk about it then.
We don't, as a rule, talk about it. You always carefully avoid the subject.
Avoid? Why should I avoid it?
I know you want to spare me. You try to find excuses for me.
I find excuses for you, Aline.
As for the old house, that was meant to be, I suppose. It's what came after the fire. It's the dreadful thing that came after. That's what I can never forget.
You must stop thinking about that.
How can I help thinking about it? I must speak of it. I'll never be able to forgive myself.
Yourself.
Yes. I should have been strong, Halvard. I had my duties to you and to the children. Oh, Halvard, if only I had been stronger.
Aline, you must promise me that you'll stop thinking these thoughts. You must promise me.
You can promise anything.
Oh, it's all hopeless, hopeless.
This is not a home, Halvard.
No, you're right, Claire. And I don't suppose it'll be any better in the new house either.
No, it won't be any better.
Then why in heaven's name did we build it? Can you tell me that?
That's a question that only you can answer, Halvard.
What do you mean by that, Aline? What are you trying to imply?
I assure you I'm not
I know what I know. I'm neither blind nor deaf. Just remember that.
talking about. What is it?
You seem to find a furtive, hidden meaning in the most innocent word I happen to say.
I do?
Yes, but I suppose that's natural enough when you're dealing with a sick man.
Sick? Are you sick, Halvard?
A lunatic, then.
Oh,
if that
Halvard, for
pleases
heaven's
you.
sake.
But you're both wrong, both you and the doctor. There's absolutely nothing wrong with me.
Then what is it that troubles you so?
It's just this terrible burden of debt.
Debt?
I can't bear it any longer.
You owe nobody anything, Halvard.
Oh, I owe you a tremendous debt, Aline. You.
What are you hiding from me? Tell me the
I'm
truth.
not hiding anything from you. I've never harmed you, never deliberately, never intentionally, that is, and yet I feel crushed by this terrible sense of guilt.
Towards me?
Mostly toward you, yes.
Then you must be sick after all, Halvard.
I suppose I must be, or not far from it. Ah, now it gets lighter.
Good morning, Master Builder.
Good morning. Did you sleep well?
Yes, splendidly, like a child in a cradle. I lay there and stretched myself like a princess.
Then you must have been comfortable.
Yes, indeed, I was.
Did you have any dreams?
Yes, but horrid ones. I dreamed I was falling off a high, steep precipice. Do you ever dream that sort of thing?
Yes, now and then. It makes your blood run cold.
I'd better get into town now, Halvard. I'll try to get some of the things you need, Miss Mama.
Dear, darling Mrs. Solness, really, you are much too kind to me. Incredibly kind.
Oh, no, not at all. It's no more than my duty. I'm only too glad to do it.
I think I might go myself now.
Without hat or gloves? People might think you're crazy, too.
Crazy? Why? Are there so many crazy people here?
Yes, there's one here at any rate.
Oh, you, Master Builder.
You must have noticed.
No, I can't say I have. Although there was one thing.
There, you see, Arlene?
What thing, Miss Wagner?
I won't tell you.
Yes, do.
No, thanks. I'm not as mad as that.
When you're alone, Miss Wangel is sure to tell you how not.
You think so?
Well, of course. After all, she's such an old friend of yours. You've known her since she was a child, you tell me.
Your wife doesn't seem to like me very much.
Why do you say that?
Wasn't it pretty obvious?
That's just her manner. Underneath, she's kind and gentle-hearted. You'll see when you get to know her.
Maybe. But I wish she wouldn't talk so much about her duty.
Her duty?
Why did she have to say she'd get those things for me? Because it was her duty. I hate that ugly, horrid word.
What on earth should she have said?
Well, she could have said that she'd just left to do it because she'd taken a tremendous fancy to me.
Oh, you would have liked that, would you?
Yes, of course. What a lot of books you have.
Yes, I seem to have collected a great many.
Do you read them all, too?
I used to try when I was younger. Do you read books?
No, I've given it up. It all seems so irrelevant.
That's the way I look at it, too.
Are these your drawings?
No, they were drawn by a young man who's my assistant here.
Oh, he's studying with you, then.
Well, he's learned something from me, I dare say.
He must be very clever, isn't he?
Why, do you see that in the drawings?
In these, no. But if he's a student of yours...
Well, I've had lots of students in my time. They haven't amounted to much.
Master Builder, how can you be so stupid?
Stupid?
Well, you must be, or you wouldn't waste your time teaching all these people.
Why not?
Well, what for? You're the only one who should be allowed to build. You ought to build everything yourself. You alone!
Hilda,
What?
whatever put that idea into your mind?
Why? Am I so wrong?
No, it's not that, but you know something?
What?
I myself am obsessed with that idea. I sit here in silence, brooding over it incessantly.
That seems perfectly natural to me.
Hilda, I want to show you something.
What?
You see over there on the other side of the garden?
Yes?
Just beyond the stone quarry?
That new house, you mean?
Yes, it's nearly finished.
It seems to have a very high tower.
The scaffolding is still up.
Is that your new house?
Yes.
The one that you're going to move into soon? Are there nurseries in that house, too?
There are 3, just as there are here.
And no children?
No, and there never will be.
Well, aren't you a little mad? All those empty nurseries I slept in.
We have had children, Arlene and I.
Oh, have you?
2 boys, twins.
Twin.
Yes. That was 11 or 12 years ago.
And are they both... Did you lose them, both of them?
They only lived 2 weeks. Not even that. Oh, Hilda. It's so good you've come to me. Now, at last, I have someone I can talk to.
Well, can't you talk to her, too?
Not about this. Not as I want to, as I need to. And there's so many things I can never talk to her about.
So that was all you meant when you said you needed me.
Chiefly, yes. Yesterday, at least. But today, I'm not so sure. Would you like to hear about it?
Very much.
An old house stood where the new house now stands. Arlene and I spent the first years of our marriage there. It belonged to her mother. We inherited it, along with a huge garden.
And was there a tower on that house, too?
No, nothing like that. It looked like a gloomy, ugly wooden box from the outside, but inside it was comfortable
And
enough.
so what happened? Did you tear it down?
No, it burnt down.
All of it?
Yes.
Was it a great loss to you?
Well, that depends on how you look at it. As a builder, that fire was the making of me.
Oh, was it? Well, then,
It was just after the birth of the 2 boys. It was such a pretty sight to see Arlene lying there with the 2 of them in her arms. Then came the night of the fire.
oh, what happened? Was any...
No, not that. Everyone got out safely.
Well, what then?
It was such a terrible shock to Arlene. The smoke, the flames, the confusion, the shouts. Aline and the two boys were sound asleep. They got them out just in time. They had to be dragged from their beds and carried as they were out into that bitter night.
Was that why they...
No. Later, Aline developed a fever, and it affected her milk. She would insist on nursing them herself. It was her duty, she said. And the two boys...
They didn't get over that.
No, they didn't get over that. That's how we lost them.
Terrible for you.
It was hard on me, but 10 times harder on Aline. Why are such things allowed to happen in this world? From the day I lost them, I had no joy in building churches.
Didn't you even like building the church tower in our town?
No, I didn't. I'll never build anything of that sort again, neither churches nor church towers.
Only houses for people to live in.
Homes for human beings, Hilda,
But homes with high towers and spires rising above them.
if possible. Well, as I said, that fire was the making of me. As a builder, that is.
Why don't you call yourself architect like the others?
My education wasn't thorough enough for that. What I know, I found out mostly for myself.
But you climbed to the top, just the same.
Thanks to the fire, yes. I cut the old garden up into small building lots. I was free to try out my ideas, to build exactly as I chose. From that day, nothing could stop me. I became a success.
What a happy man you must be, Master Builder.
Happy? You sound like all the others.
I should think you must be happy if you could stop thinking about the little boys.
They're not so easy to forget.
Not even after all these years.
So you think I'm a happy man?
Aren't you? I mean, apart from that.
When I told you the story about the fire, weren't you struck by one particular thing?
No, what?
Weren't you struck by the fact that it was solely because of that fire that I was able to build these homes for human beings? These warm, comfortable, cheerful homes where a mother and a father and a whole troop of children could enjoy life in peace and happiness. Sharing the big things and the little things. And best of all, Hilda, belonging to each other.
Isn't it a great happiness for you to be able to build these beautiful homes?
But what about the price, Hilda? The terrible price I had to pay for that opportunity.
Can't you ever get over that?
No. In order to build these homes for others, I had to give up forever a home of my own with a family. That so-called happiness was not to be bought any cheaper.
Couldn't you still...
Never. That's another consequence of the fire and of Aline's illness afterward.
And yet you build all these nurseries.
Haven't you ever been attracted by the impossible, Hilda? Has it never called out to you, cast its spell over you?
Impossible. Yes. Oh, of course. Do you feel that too?
Yes.
Well, then there must be a little bit of a devil in you too.
Why devil?
Well, what would you call it then?
Yes. That must be it. But how can I help becoming a devil when everything turns out for me as it always does?
What do you mean?
Listen, Hilda. Everything I've been able to achieve, all the comfort, security, magnificence, if you like, it's too horrible to think of.
What is it that's so horrible?
All this had to be paid for, not in money, but in human happiness, and not just my happiness, but the happiness of others as well. And I have to look on and watch others paying that price for me day after day.
Now you're thinking of her.
Yes, mostly of Aline. You see, Aline, too, had a vocation. But hers had to be sacrificed so that mine might force its way up to some great victory. Aline had a gift for building up the souls of little children. She could teach them how to become strong and beautiful in mind as well as body. She could teach them how to become fine, honorable human beings. But that had to be stifled and crushed.
But even if that's true, it's surely not your fault.
I wonder. That's the terrible, the great question that torments me day and night.
Why?
Because perhaps in a way it was my fault.
You mean the fire?
Everything, the whole business. But then again, I may have had nothing to do with it.
If you keep talking like that, Master Builder, I'll begin to think you are ill.
Oh, excuse me, Mr. Solness.
Oh, no, don't go away. Let's get it over with.
I wish we could.
Your father's no better, I hear.
He's failing very rapidly now. That's why I must beg you to write a few encouraging words on one of my drawings. Just something for Father to see before he...
I don't want to hear any more about those drawings of yours.
Have you looked at them?
Yes, I have.
They're no good, and I suppose that I am no good either.
Look, Ragnar, stay on here with me. You can have everything your own way. You can marry Kaya. You'll have no worries. You may even be happy, but don't think of building on your own account.
I suppose I better go and tell Father what you say. I promised him I would. Is this what you want me to tell him before he dies?
Oh, tell him what you like as far as I'm concerned. Why tell him anything? I can do nothing about it.
May I have the drawings to take with me, please?
Yes, by all means, they're there on the table.
Thank you.
No, leave them here.
What for?
Because I want to look at them.
But I thought you had... Very well, then, just leave them.
Very well.
And Ragnar, you mustn't ask me to do things that are beyond my power. You mustn't.
No, I beg your pardon.
It was a very ugly thing you did to that boy.
You think so?
Yes, it was disgusting. It was hard and cruel and wicked.
You don't understand the facts.
I don't care. You ought not to be like that.
You said yourself just now that I alone should be allowed to build.
I may say things like that. It's not for you to say them.
Who has a better right? I've paid a high enough price for my position.
That precious domestic comfort of yours, I suppose you mean.
What about my peace of mind, Hilda?
Your peace of mind. Oh, I see. I understand. Poor Master Builder. You think...
Hilda, sit down. I want to tell you something funny.
Well,
I know it sounds ludicrous, but the whole question revolves around a little crack in the chimney.
crack in the chimney.
Yes, a long time before the fire, I'd noticed that little crack in the flue. Every time I went up to the attic, I looked to see if it was still there.
And it was.
Yes.
And you didn't think of repairing it?
Oh, I thought about it, but I never got down to it. Every time I'd start to work, it was as though a hand held me back. Not today, tomorrow, I thought. And I never did it.
What made you put it off like that?
I became obsessed with an idea. Through that little black crack in the chimney, I might perhaps force my way upward as a builder.
Master Builder, are you sure the fire was caused by that crack in the chimney?
On the contrary, I'm convinced the crack in the chimney had nothing to do with it.
What?
It is proven quite definitely that the fire broke out in an entirely different part of the house.
Well, what is all this nonsense about the crack in the chimney?
Hilda, may I tell you something?
Well, if you'll try to talk sense.
Don't you believe that there are certain special chosen people who are endowed with the power, the faculty of willing a thing, desiring it so persistently and so inexorably that they make it happen? Don't you believe that?
If that is so, we'll find out one day whether I'm one of the chosen ones.
And it's not by our power alone that we're able to accomplish these things. We must call on the demons in order to succeed. And they never come of their own accord. We must summon them.
Don't you think that fire would have happened, even if you hadn't wished it?
If old Knut Bruvik had owned that house, it never would have burnt down so conveniently for him.
Then it's the fault of the demons.
Yes, but who called the demons? I did. And they came and obeyed my will. And these good people call that having luck on your side. Do you know what that kind of luck feels like? It's like having an open wound in my breast, and the demons flay pieces of skin off other people in order to heal my wound. But it goes on burning and throbbing. It never heals. Never.
I think you are ill, Master Builder. I'm inclined to think you are very ill.
Why don't you say crazy? That's what you mean, isn't
No, that's not what I mean. I wonder if you weren't born with a sickly conscience.
it? A sickly conscience.
I think your conscience is too delicate and feeble. It won't face the hard things. It refuses to carry any burden that seems heavy.
And what sort of conscience should one have?
I would prefer your conscience to be thoroughly robust.
Robust. Is your conscience robust, may I ask?
Yes, I think so. I've never noticed that it wasn't.
I dare say it's never been put to the test.
Well, I don't know about that. It wasn't so easy for me to leave my father. I'm very fond of him.
Well, for a couple of months.
I feel I shall never go home again.
Never. Why did you leave him then?
Have you forgotten again that the 10 years are up?
Nonsense. Was anything wrong at home?
No. But something within me urged me and goaded me to come here. It was as if something beckoned me and lured me on.
That's it. That's it, Hilda. Yes. There must be a devil in you, too.
I believe you're right, Master Builder.
There's so many invisible devils in this world. Good devils and bad devils, blonde devils and dark devils. If we only knew which devil had hold on us, things might be simpler.
Oh, if we had the courage to follow our own will.
I'm afraid in that respect, most people are as weak as I am. In the sagas, have you ever read any of the old sagas?
Yes.
They tell of the Vikings who sailed to foreign lands and plundered and burned and killed all the men
And captured the women.
and carried them off with them.
Took them home in their ships. I think that must have been thrilling.
To carry off women?
To be carried off.
Oh, indeed.
What made you speak of these Vikings, Master Builder?
What robust consciences they must have had. They sailed home again and could eat and drink and were as happy as children. And the women, they must have liked those barbarians, for they often refused to leave them. Can you understand that?
I understand those women perfectly.
Oh. Perhaps you'd have done the same thing.
Why not?
Live of your own free will with a barbarian?
Of course, if I loved him.
Well, how could you love a man like that?
Master Builder, you know we don't choose whom we're going to love.
No. I suppose the devil in you takes care of that. I hope your devil chooses well for you, Hilda.
The choice has been made.
You're like a wild bird in the woods.
Far from it. I don't hide away in the bushes.
No, perhaps you're more like a bird of prey.
Perhaps. Are you sure that you have never called to me? Inwardly, you know.
I'm almost certain I must have.
What did you want of me?
You are youth, Hilda.
What about these drawings, Master Builder?
Take them away. I've heard enough about those drawings.
The poor old man is dying. It would make them both so happy. He might even get the commission.
Yes, that's exactly what he would get. He's made sure of that.
Well, if that's true, then it surely couldn't hurt you to tell a little lie for once.
Take those damn drawings away.
Well, don't bite me. Where's the pen and ink?
There isn't any here.
Well, that young lady in the office must have some.
Hilda, don't you see? If Ragnar gets the chance, he'll destroy me as I did his father.
Destroy you? You mean he has power for that?
It's hopeless, Hilda. The luck will turn. Retribution is inexorable.
Don't talk like that. Do you want to kill me? Do you want to take away what means more to me than life?
What's that?
I need to see you great. To see you high up on a church tower with a wreath in your hand. Here's your pencil, Master Builder. We're going to sit down right over here. And we're going to write on those drawings something very nice and very kind.
Why have you come here, Hilda?
Don't waste time talking. The poor old man might go and die in the meantime.
Answer me. What do you want of me?
I want my kingdom.
I brought a few of the things myself, Miss Wagner. The large parcels will be sent later on.
You're much too kind, Mrs. Soulness.
My simple duty, nothing more.
Arlene,
Yes?
did you notice where the bookkeeper was out there?
Of course she was there. She was at her desk, as she always is when I go through the room.
Good, then I'll just give these to her and tell her.
Let me have that pleasure. What's her name?
Miss Foster.
No, her first name.
Kaya, I believe.
Kaya! Come in here a minute. The Master Builder has something to say to you.
You want me?
Take these, Kaya. The Master Builder has written on them now.
At last.
Take them to him as quickly as possible.
I'll take them to him at once.
Yes, do. Now Ragnar will have his chance to build.
May he come and thank you?
No, I want no thanks. Tell him that for me.
Yes, I will.
And tell him I shall no longer need his services. Nor yours either.
Nor mine either.
No, you'll have other things to think about and attend to. That's as it should be. Take the drawings, Miss Fossley, quickly.
Yes, Mr. Soulness.
What deceitful eyes she has.
She? That poor creature?
Oh, I can see what I can see, Halvard. So, you're really going to dismiss them?
Yes.
Her as well?
Yes, isn't that what you wanted?
How will you get on without her? Oh, no doubt you have someone in reserve.
As for me, I'd be no good at that desk.
Never mind, Eileen. Everything will be all right. You just think about moving into your new house as quickly as possible. And this evening, we'll hang the wreath up on the tower. What do you say to that, Miss Hilda?
It will be wonderfully thrilling to see you up there again.
Me?
Whatever put that into your head, Miss Wagner?
I saw him at the top of a high tower.
Oh, yes, I've heard rumors about that, but my husband, who always gets so dizzy, well, it's quite impossible.
Impossible? Impossible, but I stood there all the same.
Halvard, you know you don't even dare go out on the second-story balcony here. You've always been like that.
You may see something quite different this evening.
No, God forbid that I should ever see that. I'll send word for the doctor at once.
But why, Eileen?
You are sick, Halvard, after all. This proves it. Oh, no.
Is it so, or is it not?
That I get dizzy?
That my Master Builder dare not, cannot climb as high as he builds?
Is that how you look at it?
Yes.
Hilda, is there no part of me that's safe from you?
Up there, then. Right up there.
Hilda, you could live in the topmost room of that tower. You could live there like a princess.
That's what you promised.
I did?
You said I could be your princess, and you'd buy me a kingdom. And then you
Are you
went.
sure you didn't dream all this? That you imagined it?
You mean you didn't do it?
I scarcely know myself anymore. But I know one thing now.
What's that?
I should have done it.
You could never be dizzy.
Tonight, Hilda, we'll hang the wreath on the top of the tower.
Over your new home, yes.
Over the new house that will never be a home for me.
Frightfully thrilling.
So you've been round the garden, Miss Bungle?
Yes, I've been exploring it.
Found some flowers, I see.
There are such heaps of them among the bushes.
Are there really? Still? You see, I scarcely ever go down there.
Really, your own garden? I should think you'd take a run down there every day.
I don't run anywhere. Not anymore, Miss Bungle.
Well, I should think you'd go there. There are such lovely things to see.
I'm almost afraid to see it again.
Your own garden?
I don't feel that it is mine any longer.
How do you mean?
Oh, no. It's no longer mine, Miss Bungle. They've done such dreadful things to the garden. They divided it up and built houses for a lot of strangers. People I don't even know. They sit at their windows and stare at me.
Mrs. Soulness,
Yes?
do you mind if I stay here with you?
Oh, of course not. I'd be delighted, if you really care to.
Oh, how nice it is to sit and sun oneself like a cat.
It's kind of you to sit here with me. I thought you were on your way to join my husband.
No. Why should I join him?
I thought you might be helping him with something.
No. Anyway, he's not here. He's over with the workmen. He looked so ferocious I didn't dare speak to him.
He's so kind and gentle underneath all that.
Kind and gentle.
You don't really know him yet, Miss Bungle.
Are you glad to be moving into the new house?
I know I should be glad. It's what Halvard wants.
Oh, no, not just for that.
Oh, yes, Miss Bungle. After all, it's my duty to try to please him. But there are times when it's very hard to force one's mind to obey.
Yes. That must be very hard.
It is, especially when one has as many faults as I have.
Or when one has suffered as you have.
How do you know about that?
Your husband told me.
He seldom talks about such things to me.
Poor Mrs. Soulness. First the old house burned down.
I lost everything I had.
You lost the 2 little boys.
The 2 little boys. Oh, yes. Well, you see, that was a thing apart. That was God's will. Of course, one must bow to his will. It's the small losses in life that break one's heart. It's losing all the little things, things that might seem insignificant to other people.
Dear Mrs. Soulness, what things do you mean?
That's what I say. Just little things. The old family portraits were all burnt on the walls. The old silk dresses were burnt. They'd been in the family for countless generations. All mother's and grandmother's lace. All the jewels, too. They were all burnt. And then all the dolls.
Dolls.
I had 9 lovely dolls.
And they were burnt.
Yes. All of them. Oh, it was hard. It was so hard for me.
Were they dolls you played with as a little girl and stored away all these years?
Oh, they were not stored away. The dolls and I went on living together.
Even after you grew up?
Oh, yes.
And
Long
after you were married, too?
Yeah, yes. As long as he knew nothing about it, they were all burnt up, poor things. No one thought of saving them. Oh, it's so tragic to think of. Well, you mustn't laugh at me, Miss Vaughn.
I'm not laughing in the least.
In a way, you see, there was life in them, too. I carried them underneath my heart, like little unborn children.
Are you sitting out here catching cold, Mrs. Soulness?
Oh, it's so pleasant and warm here today.
But is anything the matter? I had a message from you.
Yes. There's something I must speak to you about.
Oh, very well. Perhaps we'd better go in.
Yes.
When are we going mountain climbing again, Miss Vongel?
I'm not going to break my neck today. We two are going to sit quietly here and look on.
What are we going to look on at?
He's coming. Miss Vongel, try to get that idea out of his head. And let us be friends. Don't you think we can?
Oh, if we only could.
There. She's coming. Doctor, let me have a word with you.
Is it about him?
Oh, yes, of course it's about him. Do come in.
Have you noticed, Hilda? As soon as I come, she goes.
I've noticed that as soon as you come, you make her go.
Perhaps, but I can't help it. Are you cold, Hilda? You look as if you were cold.
It's because I've just come up out of a tomb.
What were you talking about? What were you talking about, I asked. Was it about the children? She'll never get over it. Now you're standing there like a statue, just as you did last night.
I must go away.
Go away.
Yes.
No, I won't let you.
What can I do here now?
Just be here, Hilda.
I dare say. You know, it wouldn't stop at that.
So much the better.
I can't harm anyone I know. I can't take anything that belongs to her.
Whoever said you would?
A stranger, that's a different thing. Somebody that I had never laid eyes on, but a person that I've come close to, never that, no.
I've never suggested anything of the sort.
Master Builder, you know well enough what will happen if I stay. So I must go.
What will become of me if you go away? What shall I have to live for then?
There's no need to worry about you. You have your duties to your wife. Live for those duties.
Oh, it's too late, Hilda. All these powers, these...
Demons?
Yes, demons. And the demon within me, too. They've drained the lifeblood out of her. They did it for my happiness. Now I'm chained alive to this dead woman, and I cannot live without joy in my life.
What are you going to build next, Master Builder?
I don't think I'm going to build much more.
No cheerful, happy homes for a mother and a father and a whole troop of children?
I don't think there'll be much use for such homes from now on.
Poor Master Builder. For 10 years you've devoted your life to that alone.
Yes, you're right there, Hilda.
Oh, how absurd it is! How senseless!
Or what?
This business of not daring to grasp one's own happiness, one's own life, and all because somebody you know happens to stand in the way.
Yes. Someone you've no right to cast aside.
I wonder if that's really true. Perhaps, after all, one has the right. Yeah. Oh. I could just sleep it all away.
Did you have a happy home with your father?
All I had was a cage.
You don't want to go back there?
Wild birds can't live in cages.
No. They must be free to hunt in the open air.
Birds of prey need the open air.
Oh, to have the Viking spirit.
And the other thing, say what that was.
A robust conscience.
I know what you're going to build next, Master Builder.
Then you know more than I do.
Oh, yes, of course, Master Builders are so stupid.
Well, what's it to be?
My castle.
So now you want a castle?
Well, you can't very well have a kingdom without a castle, I should hope.
No, they usually go together.
Very well, then build it for me at once.
Must you have it at this very instant?
Yes, because the 10 years are up and I'm not going to wait any longer. So out with my castle, Master Builder.
It's no joke to owe you anything, Hilda.
Well, it's too late now. You should have thought of that before. My castle on the table. It's my castle and I want it right now.
How do you see this castle of yours?
My castle must be on a high hill. Oh, very high. So that I have a clear view all around.
And it's to have a high tower?
Oh, a tremendously high tower. And at the very top of the tower there must be a balcony. And I'll stand out on it.
How can you bear to stand at such a great height?
Yes, I shall. I shall stand out there and look down at all the others who are building churches and homes for a mother and a father and a whole troop of children. And you shall come up there and stand with me.
Will the Master Builder be allowed to come to the princess?
If the Master Builder will.
Then I think he will come.
Yes, he will come.
But I don't think he will build any more, poor Master Builder.
Yes, he will. We two are going to build together. We are going to build the very loveliest thing in all the world.
Tell me what that is, Hilda.
Castles in the air.
Castles in the air?
Castles in the air, yes. Do you know what kind of a thing a castle in the air is?
It's the loveliest thing in all the world, you say.
The loveliest thing in the world. Oh, castles in the air. They're awfully easy to take refuge in. They're easy to build, too. especially for a builder who has a dizzy conscience.
From now on, Hilda, you and I will build together.
A real castle in the air?
Yes. One on a firm foundation.
The wreath! Ah, it'll be splendid.
Why have you brought the wreath, Ragnar?
Promised the foreman I would.
Oh, then is your father better?
No.
Wasn't he pleased with what I wrote?
It arrived too late.
Too late.
Yes, he was unconscious by the time she brought it. He had a stroke.
You'd better go home to him then.
He doesn't need me anymore.
Surely you ought to be there.
She's there, with him, sitting by his bed.
Kaya?
Yes, Kaya.
Well, you go home to both of them, Ragnar. Give me the wreath.
You don't mean you're going
I'll
to take
take
the
it down to the men. We won't need you here anymore today.
No, I dare say you don't need me anymore. But today I'm going to stay.
Very well. As you like.
I'm going to stand up here and watch you, Master Builder.
Watch me.
It'll be wonderfully thrilling.
We'll discuss that later, Hilda.
I should think you might at least have thanked him.
Thanked him. Do you expect me to thank him?
Yes, of course you should.
Well, he's held me back year after year, made my own father doubt me, made me doubt myself, and all because he wanted to.
Because he wanted what? What? Tell me.
He wanted to keep her with him.
That girl at the desk.
Yes.
Why, that's not true. You're telling lies about him.
Oh, I didn't believe it myself until today when she told me herself.
What did she say?
She said that he'd taken possession of her whole being. Of her whole being. She said that all her thoughts were for him alone. She said that she could never leave him, that she must stay here where he is.
Well, she won't be allowed to.
We won't allow it.
He won't permit it either.
What? Oh, no, of course not. Well, I understand everything perfectly now. From now on, she would only be in the way.
You don't understand anything at all, or you wouldn't talk like that. I will tell you why he wanted her to stay.
Well, why?
Because he wanted you to stay.
Did he tell you that himself?
No, but that's true. It must be true. I will have it so.
But the very moment that you came, he let her go.
He let you go. Why should he care about a strange girl like that?
Could he have been afraid of me all these years?
He afraid. Now, I wouldn't be so conceited if I were you.
But he must have realized a long time ago that I had something in me. Besides a coward, that's all he is. You know that, don't you?
Yes, I'm likely to believe that.
Well, in some ways, he is a coward, the great master builder. Oh, he's not afraid of destroying other people's happiness, father's and mine, for instance, but just you ask him to climb up a miserable bit of scaffolding.
You should have seen him at the top of a high tower as I once saw him.
You saw that?
Yes, I did. He put the wreath on the vane, and he looked so proud and free.
Yes, he's supposed to have done that just once in his life.
He's going to do it again today.
We will neither of us ever see that.
I will see it. I will. I must see it. Isn't he here? Where has he gone?
Oh, he's gone down with the men, Mrs. Silver.
He's got the wreath with him.
He's got the wreath? Oh, Bruvik, go down to him. Try to make him come back here.
Should I tell him you want him, Mrs. Silver?
Oh, yes, do, dear Bruvik. Oh, no. Better not tell him I want him. Say that some people have just come, and they're asking to see him.
Very well. I'll tell him.
What if he really meant it? What if he really tried to climb the scaffolding?
Do you think he will?
Oh, he's so unpredictable. He could do anything.
So perhaps you two think that he's a...
I don't know what to think of him any longer.
Bruvik's almost there now. We'd better go in.
Oh, please, Miss Fango, stay here. Talk to him when he comes. Please.
Keep him out here as long as possible.
Oh, yes, do. Dear Miss Farmer, please, be firm with him. Get this mad idea out of his head.
Wouldn't it be best for you to do that?
Yes, heaven knows it is my duty, but I have duties in so many
Here he is.
directions.
Don't say anything to him about my being here.
Someone wants to see me, I hear.
It's only I, Master Builder.
Oh, it's you. I was afraid it might be Aline and the doctor.
I hear that you are very easily frightened.
Do you think so?
Yes, they tell me that you are afraid of climbing around on a little scaffolding.
Well, that's quite a special thing.
You are afraid of it.
Yes, I am.
You're afraid of falling down and killing yourself.
No, not of that.
Of what, then?
I'm afraid of retribution, Hilda.
I don't understand that.
Let me tell you something, Hilda.
Oh, I'm listening, Master Builder.
You know I began life building churches.
Oh, yes, I know that very well.
You see, I came from a pious home in a little country village, and I suppose that's why I thought that the finest thing I could devote myself to was the building of churches. And I think I may say that I built these humble little churches with such honest fervor that he should have been pleased with me.
He, what he?
He for whom they were built.
And you think he wasn't pleased with you?
How can you say that, Hilda? Didn't he give the devil in me full power? I soon found out he wasn't pleased with me. That's really why he let the old house burn.
Oh, that was the reason.
Yes, don't you see? He wanted me to become a great master in my own sphere so that I could go on building ever more glorious churches for him. First, I didn't realize what he was up to. And then suddenly I saw it clearly.
When was that?
It was when I put the tower on the old church at Leesonger. I was up there alone and I had time to meditate. And I understood why he had taken my children from me. He didn't want me to become attached to anything. I was to be allowed no love or happiness. I was to be solely a master builder and to build only churches for him. But I soon put a stop to that.
What did you do?
I put myself to the test. I did the impossible. I no less than he.
Impossible.
Yes, I'd never before been able to climb to a great height. But that day I did it.
Yes, you did.
And as I stood up there above everything, I said, "Listen to me, Almighty One. From now on, I shall be a free master builder, free in my sphere just as you are free in yours. I will never more build churches for you, only homes for human beings."
That was the song I heard in the air.
Yes, but he won in the end.
What do you mean?
I see it now. People have no use for these homes of theirs, not to be happy in. And if I had such a home, I probably would have no use for it either.
Then aren't you ever going to build anything again, Master Builder?
On the contrary, now I'm just going to begin to
And
build.
what are you going to build? Tell me.
I believe there's only one possible dwelling place for human happiness, Hilda. That's what I'm going to build now.
Master Builder. You mean our castles in the air?
Yes, castles in the air.
Oh, I'm afraid that you'd grow dizzy before you got halfway up.
Oh, not if I were to climb hand in hand with you, Hilda.
With me alone, aren't there going to be any others?
What others?
Well, that Kaya at the desk, for instance. Poor thing, wouldn't you like to take her along?
So that's what Aline was talking to you about.
Is it true or is it not?
I'm not going to answer that question. You must believe in me wholly and completely.
For 10 years, I have believed in you so utterly, so utterly.
You must go on believing in me.
Then let me see you again free and high up.
I can't be like that every day,
Yes,
Hilda.
you must be. I want you to be. Just once more. Do the impossible again.
If I try it, I shall talk to him as I did before.
What will you say to him?
I'll say to him, "Listen to me, Almighty Lord. You may judge me as you will, but from now on I shall build only the loveliest thing in all the world.
Yes, yes, yes.
And I shall build it with a princess whom I love.
Oh, tell him that, tell him that.
And then I'll say, now I'm going down, and throw my arms around her and kiss her.
Many times say that.
Many, many times I'll say.
And then,
And then I'll wave my arm, and I'll climb back down to earth again and do as I told him.
now I see you as I did when there was a song in the air.
Hilda, Hilda, how have you become what you are?
How have you made me what I am?
The princess shall have her castle.
Master Builder. My lovely, lovely castle. Our castle in the air.
On a firm foundation.
Are we to have music too?
Yes, the band is here from the Builders Union. I was to tell you the foreman is ready to go up with the wreath.
I'll go down to him now.
Need you go down there, Alva?
I must be below with the men.
But you'll stay below, won't you? You'll stay down with the men.
Don't I usually stay there?
And do tell the foreman to be careful. Promise me that, Alva.
You see how right I was? He's forgotten all about that nonsense.
What a relief. You know, twice the workmen have fallen and killed on the spot. Oh, thank you, dear Miss Bongle, for being so firm with him. I never could have managed it myself.
Oh, leave it to Miss Bungle. She can be firm with the man when she puts her mind to it.
Miss Fondle, do you see all those young people down there in the street?
Yes.
Those are my fellow students. They've come to watch the great master.
What do they want to watch him for?
Well, all these years he's kept us down. We'd like to see him forced to stay down below himself.
You're not going to see that today.
Really? Where shall we see him?
High up at the top of the tower. That's where you'll see him.
Do you expect me to believe that?
It is his will to climb to the top, and at the top you will see him.
His will, yes, I dare say, but he simply can't do it. He'd get dizzy before he was halfway up. He'd have to crawl back down again on his hands and knees.
Look, there goes the foreman.
He has the
Up the
wreath to
ladder.
carry, too. Oh, I do hope you'll be careful.
But
It's the Master Builder himself. It's Alva! Alva!
Don't shout.
I must go! I must make him come back!
Be still, all of you. Not a sound.
Climbs. Higher. 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 Look. Just look.
just turn back now. Can't do anything else.
Climbs. Climbs. He'll soon be at the top now. I'll die, Terry. I can't bear to look at him.
Don't watch that.
There he stands at the topmost plank, right at the very top.
No one must move, do you hear?
At last I see him. Great. Free again.
But
Oh, these 10 years I've seen him so. How proud he looks. Wonderfully thrilling. Look. He's hanging the wreath on the vane.
but this is utterly impossible.
Oh, it's the impossible he's doing now. Do you see anybody up there with him?
No, there's nobody up there.
There's somebody up there. He's driving.
No, you're mistaken.
Don't you hear a song in the air either?
It's the wind.
I hear a song, a mighty song. He's waving his arm. He's waving to us down here. Oh, wave! Wave to him because now it's finished. Hurrah for Master Builder!
Stop it! For heaven's sake, stop it!
Master Builder.
He must have been killed outright.
I don't see him up there anymore.
This is a terrible thing. So you see, he couldn't do it after all.
But he climbed to the top. And I heard harps in the air.